In a quiet neighborhood in Enoch, Utah, doors were rarely locked. Neighbors waved from driveways. Children rode bikes down the same streets after school. It was the kind of place where nothing bad was supposed to happen. On January 4th, 2023, that changed forever. Tausha Haight was 40 years old. She was a mother of 5, known for her reliability, the kind of person who never missed an appointment. When a close friend couldn't reach her that afternoon, she didn't assume the worst. She tried calling again and again. Nothing. So she called the police. The call was calm, measured. She explained that Tausha was in the middle of a difficult divorce, that there had been some tension at home, that she was supposed to meet online that day and simply never showed up. She mentioned something else, almost as an afterthought. There were firearms in the house. At 4:00 p.m., Officers Humphrey and Roy arrived at the Haight residence on Albert Drive. They knocked. No answer. They tried reaching other family members. Nothing. A family friend eventually provided a key. What they found inside would become one of the most devastating crime scenes in Utah's history. Room by room, the officers moved through the house, and room by room, the body count rose. Tausha Haight. Her mother, Gail Earl, 78 years old, who had come to stay and offer support during the divorce. And the 5 children: Macy, 17, Briley, 12, 7-year-old twins, Ammon and Sienna, and 4-year-old Gavin. All of them shot execution style. 1 bullet each to the head. In the final room, they found the 8th body. Michael Haight, 42, Tausha's husband. The father of those 5 children. Dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He had killed his entire family and then himself. At the press conference the following morning, Enoch City Manager Rob Dotson could barely keep his composure. "We don't know why this happened. No one will probably know what was going through the minds of these individuals. However, we do know that they were our friends. They were our neighbors, and we loved them." He finished by asking for prayers, not just for the family, but for the law enforcement officers still working the scene. Many of them had known the Haight's personally. Some had been to their home before, because this wasn't the first time police had visited that house. In the summer of 2020, 2.5 years before the murders, Enoch police responded to an anonymous tip about possible child abuse at the Haight residence. What they found, or more accurately, what they failed to act on, would haunt this case forever. Macy Haight, the oldest daughter, was 14 years old when she sat down with investigators. She described 3 separate incidents in which her father had physically assaulted her. He had grabbed her by the shoulders and slammed her head into a wooden piece of furniture. He had choked her in the kitchen pantry, and she told police she was very afraid that he was going to keep her from breathing and kill her. She also described years of emotional abuse directed at her mother. Her father would belittle Tausha constantly. He monitored her phone. He took her iPad to work for days at a time to read through her text messages, then slipped it back when he was done, as if it had never been touched. When officers interviewed Michael, he denied everything. He said Macy was mouthy. He blamed stress from his father's death. He admitted losing his temper sometimes, but insisted none of it rose to the level of assault. The investigating officer told Michael his behavior was very close to assaultive. Then he sent him home. No arrest, no charges. A lethality assessment was conducted on Tausha, and the results did not indicate she was in danger. Tausha herself told police she didn't want to press charges. She said she hoped the investigation would be a wake-up call for Michael. 2.5 years later, she was dead. On December 21st, 2022, Tausha finally filed for divorce. After years of fear, after years of hoping things would change, she made her move. Michael was served with papers on December 27th. He was relegated to sleeping in the basement of their own home, waiting for the legal process to run its course. In the days that followed, family members noticed something alarming. Michael had quietly removed all of the firearms from the house. Tausha's relatives later revealed that she had told them the guns were gone, and that she believed this meant they were safe. She was wrong. 5 days before the murders, investigators would later discover Michael had been searching online for one thing. How loud is a gunshot inside a house? Can neighbors hear it? What caliber is quietest? He wasn't impulsive. He was planning. On the morning of January 4th, Tausha Haight sent a text to a friend. She said her father was acting weird. By that afternoon, all 8 of them were gone. The community of Enoch, 8,000 people, many of whom knew the family from church, from school, from the neighborhood, was devastated. At the funeral service held January 13th in Laverkin, hundreds gathered to say goodbye to Tausha, her mother Gail, and all 5 children. Michael's name was not mentioned once. He received a small, private funeral, attended only by immediate family. In the months that followed, questions multiplied. Why hadn't the 2020 investigation led to charges? Why was a lethality assessment on an abuse victim cleared when the victim's own daughter described being choked? Why did it take a divorce filing for the danger to fully materialize? And by then, it was too late. The Iron County Attorney's Office later admitted that prosecutors had never even been sent the police reports from the 2020 investigation. The left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. Tausha Haight had done everything right. She stayed. Then she left. She called police. She filed the paperwork. She thought the guns were gone. The system failed her at every turn. The tragedy of the Haight family is not just a story of one man's violence. It is a story of the warning signs that were documented, filed away, and ultimately ignored. Of a woman who placed her trust in institutions designed to protect her. And of 5 children who never had a choice. Enoch. Utah will never be the same quiet neighborhood it once was. The house on Albert Drive still stands. The street still looks the same. But everyone who lives there knows what happened behind those walls, and they know that it never had to end that way. If this case stayed with you, please subscribe to Verdict Files. We cover new cases every week, and your support helps us keep telling these stories. Hit the like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this video with someone who follows true crime. Every share brings more attention to cases that deserve it. We'll see you in the next case.